is a valuable asset, and you want to take care of your home. From roofs, siding, windows, and doors to furnaces, flooring, landscaping, and much more. This is your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio, presented by Lang Home Medical Equipment, Valdecast Windows and Doors, and by JeffBuysYourHouse.com, with your host, Roger Piper.
Your go-to for all things home. It's Home Answers Radio.
Hi, welcome to Home Answers. I'm Roger Piper. This show's all about your home, inside, outside, everything to do with your home. And I'll make you a little promise. If you spend the next few minutes with us, you're probably going to learn a thing or two that you didn't know. And we'd like to welcome to the show Jeff Neidiger, and he is with JeffBuysYourHouse.com. Jeff, welcome to the show.
Roger, thanks for having me back again.
Jeff, there is one thing that I want to talk about real fast. This show salutes veterans, and you're a veteran-owned company. So we're going to say right now, thanks for your service. We appreciate that.
It was my honor. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
Now, your business is Jeff Buys Your House, and it's pretty simple. You buy homes. So tell us a little bit about the process and what you do to help out people that are looking to sell a home.
Sure. Yeah, as you said, after I got out of the military in 2006, I started a little real estate company. It's grown over the years, but really the simplest form, like you said, is that we give folks in the Chicagoland area an alternative way to sell their home or their property. And most of the folks that are contacting us are a lot of times they don't want to do any repairs. They're unsure about the condition. Is it really market ready? They're looking for to control more of a time frame. So if they're relocating or maybe they're building new or they've got a date to go somewhere else, we can, because of the way we buy, we have some flexibility around the time frame, which a lot of folks like. So it's a very simple process. It's cash. We actually buy their house. We use a reputable title company, reputable attorney, and it's very straightforward. But I think the big picture, Roger, is that and the main difference is that, it is more about a transition working with us over just a transaction. We're going to help you through the entire process. And at least if we can't do a deal or can't come to opportunity to buy a house from you, then we're going to help educate you about the real estate market and hopefully leave you in a better place than we found you.
Yeah, obviously the real estate market's very interesting right now, and you
Sure.
know a lot about that, and you can help people out because you deal with it daily, right?
Right. Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a very interesting market. We're sitting here in January, and it's we just talked about this. It's freezing cold out. A lot of people aren't looking to have an open house or have a bunch of people through and take a look at their property to sell it. But again, the unique part about us is that we'll come out and visit with you on site and listen to you and take time and see if we can and put an offer in front of you that works for both of us. And then if you're not wanting or willing to close while it's freezing cold out, then let's set a closing date that works for you in 30 days or 60 days or springtime sounds like it has a better ring to it.
Yeah, it does. Now, Jeff, really there's two things when somebody is looking to sell their home. There is a want to and there's a need to. Want to, that's usually the traditional route where, you hire a realtor, you do some remodeling, almost unless it's new construction. You pretty much have to do some kind of remodeling or some kind of updating. You go through the showings. You do that whole thing where, you're playing the price game and doing all of that in the closing game. And that's the traditional way that most people will do it. And then there's the have to. Could be a financial situation. Could be you inherited a house. But you need to do it. And, really in those, how can you help people in those two areas? We'll start with first the need to. What's something that you can offer people that need to sell that home? They inherited. Maybe it's a financial situation. But tell us how you can help people in the need to sell my home.
Yeah, well, like you said, the financial situation, oftentimes, a lot of the houses that we do end up purchasing are inherited properties. So mom or dad or brother and sister unfortunately passes away, and you're left with a property that maybe you don't know about or can't handle, and there's still a house to maintain, especially when it's cold or you've got another thing you've got to manage. So like I said before, we can work with you on buying that house from you and you not having to do any of the repairs or taking care of any of the mess And again, I'll mention the time frame again, just because it's been such an important factor of making sure we can close when you're ready. When you're ready might be in 2 weeks, or it might be in 3 months. And so regardless of, like I said, the situation, and sometimes you're not in a situation. Sometimes it's just the situation or the circumstance might be that you're up against a job transfer or something that puts you in almost feels like a hardship. And you've got there's a lot of stress and anxiety around, buying and selling real estate. So we try and take all that away and at least give people an option that this is a path that you can do and really be more in the driver's seat on getting a transaction completed.
Yeah, and that's a very good point. We're talking with Jeff Neidiger. He is with Jeff Buys Your House, and you can check him out and we encourage you to do that, at jeffbuysyourhouse.com, or you can call 630-895-9530, and you have no problem if somebody calls you up to come out and talk to them, right?
Nope, no obligation. It's certainly a free appointment. Once they call into us, we'll grab some information. And again, I think the thing that makes us unique is that we'll listen. Again, not everyone is in a situation. It's just that they want to sell their house and they don't want to go the traditional path. There doesn't have to be a hardship around that. And so we'll come out at a time and date of their choosing and sit with them, walk through the house. Of course, we'll document any type of repairs or listen to the stories, or these houses have a lot of stories behind them. And at the end, leave them with a no obligation offer that's in cash, in writing, that they can decide on what they want to do. Talk to loved ones, and we'll circle back with them and hopefully put a transaction together that makes sense for both of us. Yeah,
and if you're somebody that's looking, it's not a need to, but want to. You're looking to sell your house. Maybe you're downsizing. Maybe you're moving. But it's an alternative to the traditional route because you don't have to list it. You don't have to market it, and work with that realtor. You don't have to go through the showings, and you don't have to pay the commission. So it really does make it simple for people. And I've known people that have used services like this, and what it comes down to is just some X's and O's, and you go through there. If it costs X amount to get this thing ready for the market, do you want to invest that? Let's say you got a $40,000 renovation that your realtor is saying, hey, we need this in order to get the price you want. Then you have to pay that. Then you have to look at commission. So, it's a complicated process, and yours is very, very simple because you're going to, give them a cash offer. If you need to close quickly, you can close quickly, or you can close on your own date. So I think it's becoming very popular for people to at least look at this as an alternative, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I was actually thinking while you were talking about that, we had just worked a transaction and purchased a home out in Elburn from a gal named Irene, and she allowed me to tell her story. But she actually posted this on the Better Business Bureau and left quite a long testimonial. But to your point about the no commissions and the no repairs, they were very overwhelmed. Her testimonial online says they lived in the house for 37 years, and so they've accumulated 37 years plus of contents. Clutter, it ends up being stuff you've got to decide what to do with. But they weren't in a hardship at all. They wanted to move and actually leave Illinois, and they were building a house in Kentucky. So as you can imagine, they were trying to line up a sale of their home and that date with the date and the purchase of their new construction home in Kentucky. We were able to come in, and they actually had their house on the market because the feedback was it needed too much work, needed too many repairs, and they were competing with new construction. So they chose to take it off the market. They contacted us, and we came in with a whole different approach. Again, we're not competing for a real estate broker's business. That's not what we do. We're just saying you can go this path, and it really worked out for both of us. They got the offer that they wanted, and they were not overwhelmed anymore about doing the repairs and a lot of the updating. And they were up against some pretty big projects just because it had been a fairly dated, nice house. And now we're buying that house, and now we're currently under renovation on a large project. And now we get to bring a new product to the market.
Yeah, and that's a great story. It is very important to consider that because, this is a show about homes. And, there's nothing like doing a renovation project. And you hear the horrors all the time. Sometimes it goes well, but most of the time you get a lot of unexpected things. And you have to interview the people to renovate the house. You have to make a decision. You've got to pay for it up front. And, it's not something that, it's usually a relatively large expense to do that. So that alone, just getting it ready for the market sometimes can be very frustrating and very time consuming and very stressful. And you eliminate that where it's like, here it is. When would you like to close? And here we go. And then you can move on with your life. Like I said, it's not for everybody, but it's a great alternative. Tell me a little bit about how you help them, handle the emotional aspect of selling the house.
Well, like you said, it tends to be very emotional, whether it's your place that you've lived in for, let's say, 37 or 57 years, or for 5 years, or it's a loved one's property that you've inherited. There's usually a lot going on there. And so, again, because we are a real estate company, but at the core, in our hearts, we are a relationship company. So we do care about making sure that we are, working with you. And again, going back to it being more about an entire transition and not just doing a transaction. We like to sit down and be good listeners and make sure that we can help. So let's say we do end up signing a contract and a purchase agreement and moving forward to a closing date. We don't just, do that and say, we'll see you at closing. We follow up weekly. We make sure that your questions are answered. We make sure that you're comfortable with closing and talking to an attorney and title company and any outside person that needs to come in the house for us. And it's a relationship, even if it only lasts for 60 days. Again, we want to make sure that they're comfortable. And oftentimes we're working with not just the decision maker or the homeowner. We're working with heirs to the property. So there could be 3, 4, 5, and sometimes 12 people involved across the country that we're having to communicate with. And we're certainly willing to accommodate and be comfortable, sitting in the middle of all that and making sure everyone's questions are answered and concerns are addressed.
Yep. Jeff Buys Your House, jeffbuysyourhouse.com. It's veteran owned. You can call them as well, 630-895-9530. Jeff, thanks for being on the show.